to see you. I'd like to know, is it a good idea to max out your 401k? For 2023, the 401k contribution plans per year, you can contribute 22.5.
Right.
If you're 15
Mhm.
over, 30,000 a year. 401ks are generally the most accessible and easiest way to save for retirement. So how important is it that we're maxing it out every year?
My rule is this: max it out up to the match.
Okay.
Put as much in it up to what they will match you, then save some money in other places. And what I mean by that is I have something I talk to people about called the savings waterfall. So if we imagine a waterfall of buckets, right, like this.
Hmm.
The first place that I tell people to save money is save in that 401k up to the match. Now, meaning how much the company will match you. And if you can save it in the Roth side, even better, because then you're creating tax-free wealth. But let's say that you fill that bucket up. You've poured all of the savings in. You've maxed out that 401k up until what they will match you and no more. And let's say you can still save even more. Then the next bucket is to max out a Roth IRA or a
Hmm.
traditional IRA. You can put
Hmm.
$6,500 dollars in up to age 50. If you're over 50, you can go up to 7,500. So you save that pot of money up. And the reason is that's just not corporate money. The 401k is corporate money, corporate rules, corporate investments. If you look at the Roth IRAs, you have much more options to invest, and that's why it makes sense to do that. Let's say, though, that you've maxed out that 401k up to the match. You then got your Roth IRA or traditional IRA maxed out. Then you can put money into an HSA, a health savings account. Great thing about a health savings account is you get tax benefits of the deduction when you put the money in. And if you take the money out for a qualifying medical expense, it's tax-free on the tail end. So a great alternative there. So let's say that you saved and maxed out your 401k up to the match. And let's say you've maxed out a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. And let's say that you're down that waterfall, you're still saving, and now you've put money into the HSA. Then you can go back and let's say you can save even more. Then go back and max out that 401k.
Okay.
Up to 22,500 to 30,000 if you're over the age of 50. Then you can go back to it.
Okay. Well, it's really helpful to understand the prioritization there.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, though, 401ks do have very limited investing options. So when do you advise branching out and investing in stocks or ETFs?
I just look at it as soon as you can,
Okay.
which for most people is when they leave their job. Now, here's a pro tip. If you aren't at your job, your 401k shouldn't be either. And I know we've
Right.
talked about this in
Yes.
the past
Yeah.
where young Aaron had like all these different 401ks that you kept leaving at your previous
I didn't
employer.
cash them out though, Nick. They were
Well,
just floating around
they
out
were
there.
just floating. They were
Yeah.
dormant, right? And we don't like dormant money. We like to have optimized money. And so all that means is if you aren't at your job, your 401k shouldn't be either.
Right.
You can take that 401k, you can roll it over into an IRA, which is a great thing. Or if you're still working, here's another pro tip. You can use what's called an in-service rollover rule. And it applies to people over 59 and a half. And what that means is if you're over 59 and a half, you could be eligible to roll over the money in your 401k into an IRA that you control. It's tax-free when you do that. And you still keep your 401k at your job. They're just allowing you to roll that money over and maybe take it and invest it in other things, not just limited to the limited options inside that 401k. So how I call it is that 401k almost puts handcuffs on you.
Mm.
They'll tell you, hey, we have 12 mutual funds or 13 mutual funds that you can use when there's literally thousands of options out there. So we like to unshackle that money when you're over 59 and a half and start investing it in other alternative strategies and really diversify that money versus just having it in a company plan.
Hmm. And another drawback with the 401k, let's say that I am maxing out those contributions every year and then I become cash poor, but then I need money for a big purchase. If I
Yeah.
tap that 401k, I'm going to be facing some severe penalties.
Right. And sometimes people will do what they call taking a loan against the 401k,
Mhm.
which they don't have to take, they don't have to pay any taxes, and then they got to pay back that loan,
Right.
which can be a problem. So that is the bad news, what you just mentioned there, Aaron. It's the bad news about a 401k is it's pre-tax money generally, unless you saved in the Roth side of it. So that pre-tax money, if you're under 59 and a half and you take money out and it's not through a loan, you not only have to pay the taxes, but then you also, if you're under 59 and a half, you have a 10% federal excise tax on top of that. So I just tell people that what you want to do is have other monies readily available. One would be a cash stash. Have 6 months worth of your expenses built up in a cash stash. It might not sound sexy, and that's okay, but at least you can get to that and not have to take loans against a 401k or worry about the taxes. Also, you can look at setting up, I mentioned earlier, an HSA. We all have medical expenses, and a lot of times that's where we're spending money is on medical expenses. Well, we have an HSA built up. We're still saving money, but now if we take it out, it's tax-free. It doesn't affect us on the taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing too, and this is another reason why I love Roth IRAs, is it's tax-free. You might still have a 10% federal excise tax if you take the money out under 59.5, but at least it's for the most part more tax advantageous than other options.
Mm-hmm. And last question for you, Nick. What if I am over 50 and realizing that I have not saved enough for retirement?
I would take this as a wake-up call.
Okay.
Start immediately. Focus 100% on starting to save and then make it automatic. Back years ago, people could start saving at 50 years old because they'd save from 50 to 65, retire at 65, live 5 to 10 years in retirement and die. That's not the case now. If you start saving at 50 to 65 and you retire at 65, chances are pretty good you're going to live to 95. That's 30 years. So you can't just say, I'm only going to save for 15 years and use what I saved in that 15 years to help me out over the next 30 years past that. So you got to start saving early and often, make it automatic. So use it as a wake-up call, save in a 401k. If you can start saving tax-free money, great. There's better options now because if you think just like that in that chart, 401ks, you can save up to $30,000 a year in a 401k if you're over the age of 50, and $7,500 in an IRA. So there's different options out there that you can do. There's all these catch-ups. So take advantage of that. Cut your expenses back now and start saving more. And also, just because you can take Social Security at 62 doesn't mean you should. Look to
Mm-hmm.
wait as long as you can to take Social Security. So if you haven't saved anything and you're 50, let it go. Try and work longer. Try and save more. Try and cut expenses. Try and let your Social Security cook and marinate. Because every year that you let Social Security cook and marinate, it increases by 8%.
Right.
And that's going to be better because then when you turn it on, more money from the government means less money out of your pocket, and that's a win-win.
Right. Right. Wow, this has been like a master class in savings, Nick. If somebody has questions about all the strategies that you've mentioned, what's the best way to reach you?
So an easy way, go to our website, group10financial.com, and you can schedule a 15-minute strategy session call, really low key, where we can see what your baseline situation is and if anything can be done to make things better, or maybe at least give you 1, 2, or 3 good nuggets
Mm-hmm.
that can help propel you into a better retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Because retirement, when I look at retirement, I don't look at retirement as the end. I look at it as your best years are yet to come. We just have to plan so that they can legitimately be the best years to come.
Mm-hmm. All right, Nick, thank you very much.
Great being with you, Erin.